but sum it up for me if you can.
Yeah, thanks. It's important, quarter of final. And now the target is, next step, that is the semi-final. And yeah, overall, 180 minutes, no easy. But I think between the two games, we decided. Again, like the first leg, we struggled a bit more. Then half-time, we changed a little bit something, we adjust something, and I think second half we were much better.
Can you put your finger on why the tempo maybe and energy wasn't where you wanted it to be in that first half? And then obviously, as you say, you made the changes, it seemed to work.
No, it's quite easy, because against team that, they are 11 players in their side, you struggle to attack quick, so you need patience. But I think second half, as I said, we were much better.
What is it for you, do you think, now the target is? Because again, it's about the fans looking for trophies, looking for success. Yeah. I'm assuming you are on the same page as that, thinking that this trophy technically should be yours.
Exactly. We are on the same page, first of all, because this club always won trophy in the past. And we need to try to do our best to achieve the target this season. And it's completely normal that they are looking for target, they are looking for trophies. The same thing that is the reason why we are working every day, is to give them and to give to the club some important title.
Arsenal, of course, up next. For you, a little bit more familiarity, and in that respect, does it make the game a little bit easier to know what to expect?
No, anyway, see, you can expect something, but it's it's derby, it's Premier League, it's Arsenal, so it will be a tough game, but we're gonna try to do our best to win the game.
Well done tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
It is Arsenal at the Emirates on Sunday for Chelsea. Spurs after the international break. It might be Legia Warsaw in the quarterfinals of this competition. They've gone ahead of Molde in extra time. So, as it stands, it will be a scouting trip to Poland, potentially, because, of course, the final is in the same country.
OK.
Not the same city, but...
Yeah, it's a shame. We could have scouted a few restaurants, couldn't we?
Congratulations, quarter-finalists. How does that sound?
Yeah, nice. It was nice to get a league in the first leg coming into Stamford Bridge, and a bit scrappy at times, but we've kept the clean sheet, we've won the game, and yeah, safely into the quarters.
You showed power, you showed persistence for that goal. Talk us through it.
Yeah, I seen a little gap and tried to jink my way through, and look, managed to scramble it through. It was a bit of nice endeavour, and when I got in front of goal, I just thought, let me pick my spot, and luckily it nestled into the bottom corner.
They don't always come off. You need a bit of confidence, don't you, to make sure that you can actually follow through with that? Yeah,
to be honest, in training, after training most days, I'm practicing finishes like that on my left foot.
You're no stranger to this competition, right? And now these fans, they're excited, they're delighted the fact that they're through, but there's going to be an expectation for you guys to win this.
Much improved picture. We talked about how little they created in the first half, no shots of any type, not even off target, and then a whole lot more in the second half. Even if it wasn't blowing the house down, it was better.
Yeah, I do wonder whether, the fact that there is so many changes to personnel, that there's a sort of lack of momentum that comes from the first, the first game, certainly the second half of the first game into the first half of the second game. Because you wonder why it's so different, no shots in the first half and then all of a sudden, 11 in the second half. So I think Chelsea have to figure that out a little bit. How do you sort of consistently, they've got Arsenal at the weekend, how do we start better rather than letting teams sort of frustrate them, and then you've got to, pull out a big performance in the second half?
Would you respond to a shakedown at half-time? Would a manager do that these days?
Yeah, well, I think they do. There's obviously methods of doing it. There's obviously ways of doing it. Coming in, throwing the kettle round and throwing sandwiches at everyone is probably not allowed. There's HR departments now, and things like that. But you still sometimes, no matter who you are, sometimes you just need a good shout in that and a wake-up call. Because remember, these lads, and all footballers, you have to peak. You say you're going to this stage of the competitions, you have to peak 50 to 60 times a year on any given night. And some nights, for whatever reason, you're human beings, 3 or 4 or 5 don't know what's gone on, that affects the performance. And then you know, an expectant crowd getting on the top of the team. So the manager's job is to just assess the room, decide what's needed here, what's required. And sometimes it is just a, you know, an emotional one, wake up. There was no tactical things, a change of personnel, bring some experienced players on. And I think that was just, it was as simple as that tonight.
Yeah.
There was nothing tactically needed. Chelsea were better in every department. Every player, man for man, was better. They just needed to step up, and they did it. But if they play like that against Arsenal, even for 45 minutes, the game's gone, because Arsenal will punish her. So that's what these young players have got to realise. You know, you can't go a whole season being pitch perfect, but when you switch off, make sure you give yourself enough ability and time to turn it round.
The goal, when it did come, was good, wasn't it? A bit of hunting and then a bit of quality from Dewsbury Hall.
Yeah, I'm happy for Dewsbury Hall because he's sort of been on the fringes, but he's a great player and. Back, counter-pressing, open, and it's a great finish.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if Lionel Messi scores that goal, the world will stop. You know, it's great play, isn't he? He's handling the ball in short areas here, low centre of gravity. That touch there just to take it away, and then now you have to put, you know, the silencer on, calm, and he's whipped it into the side netting. And I'm really pleased for him. We've watched him in this competition particularly, and you know, one of them lads. Every game he's affected the game. He's done something in every game where you go, yeah, he's a player. And I think there's a future for him at Chelsea. Big competition.
Where and how, though? How does he get into Maresca's Premier League team?
It's tough for him, isn't it? Because he's right in there with Cole Palmer.
Yeah.
You know, and that's his position. So, you know, is he a Conference League player? You know, is he going to break into that Premier League team? I think that's the question mark for a lot of these lads. It's like, how do I get into that Premier League starting lineup every week? Yeah,
exactly that. Listen, he's too good a player to be playing 10, 15 games a year at his age, you know. Maybe in 7, 8, 9 years' time, maybe that might suit him, and if you're coming down there, but he needs to play football because he's such a good, talented footballer. And the decision will probably be his at the end of the season. Whether, you know, what does he do? Does he go and find his football somewhere else, or does he stick out for him? I just look at every time I watch him, I like him, and I think to myself, as a manager, as a coach, you'd want him in your team. I think he could play at a very, very high level. Big competition in the midfield at Chelsea, but always impressed with him.
Yeah. As you...
What I did before, because it doesn't look different. He's still getting in them pockets. He's still taking players on. He's, you know, putting in great balls like this. Obviously, it's, you know, it's not his fault that it's a poor finish. But this is, if you look 6 months ago, this is the same positions he's getting in, and that goes in. So as a forward, it's quite frustrating, isn't it? Because we can sit here and analyse it, but sometimes it's just just pot's luck, and it's just, you know, it's just not, you're not getting the rub of the green. Again, here, I think he's so desperate to score, he should release it, shouldn't he? But again, 4 or 5 months ago, that's going in.
4 or 5 months ago, he's already scored 1 or 2, and he's releasing it to the young lad. Do you know what I mean?
That's true. Which he probably should have done tonight, you thought.
But listen, this is part of his journey.
Yeah.
Like, what he's done in the last year, 18 months at Chelsea, you know, that's ridiculous what he's done. You know, he's going through a little dry spell, and this is when he needs to, you know, to just... He'll understand it. He'll have loads of spells like this in his career, not as many as other players, because he's a top player. But, you know, you sort of... He's had a little pillow tonight, and he'll be, I should have done that, I should have passed it, should have done... And he just needs to just be calm, smooth.
But he doesn't strike me, Joe, as the kind of lad that, like, will lose sleep over it.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. He strikes me as like, listen, I got this. You know, I think that would be worse if he's overthinking it and he looks tense, but he doesn't look like it's bothering him that too much.
Yeah, that's true.
Could either of you just leave a game behind 5 minutes later?
Oh, no.
Well, you have to think back on it. And...
I got very bothered.
Yeah.
If I didn't score.
I think as well, when, like, you don't know what's going on in his head. Do you know what I mean? He might, to see, he looks like the coolest man in the room, don't he? Like, he's never going to be bothered about anything. But I still, affecting him. But what he needs to know is, if I was a senior player, listen, you're going through a little dry spell, it will end. You know, it will end.
It's 10 games now, isn't it?
Whenever it does.
Yeah.
But it will end, hopefully on Sunday against Arsenal. But he just needs to be I know, it sounds mad saying Cole Palmer needs to be calm, but he does. Like, he just needs to be...
I don't know if he can be any calmer.
Yeah, I know.
But I think that's his strength. I think that's why we shouldn't panic, because he he is sort of such a calm guy and has such composure that it will come. And when it comes, it will make up for it all the, you know, the 9-10 games he's not scored because, you know, he's just got that quality. He's too good for it to last too long.
Yeah, very true.
Do you like what you see of Tariq George? He's had a few.
I really do. I really do. Like, I've heard his name. I've watched him. We've watched him in this tournament. He's a ball carrier.
Yeah.
He makes the difference. Look, great feet, stop, start, drives away. You know, he's very well balanced. He's like, he reminds me a little bit like Anthony Gordon in the way he's lanky. He can run. He can look, comes inside.
Quick feet.
Quick feet. Do you know what? I would imagine. You're talking to opposition fullbacks and they see his name on the team sheet, they'll be like, oh, not tonight, I could do without this kid. Do you know what I mean? He's very, 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 like, just talented and he's one of them. He's another one off the conveyor belt. And I think he's going to play a part from now to the end of the season end.
It looks like he's growing into it. You know, you can see the young lads when they look a sort of bit of deer in headlights when they initially get their opportunity. Tariq George looks like, you know, he's sort of he's growing into the shirt. He's getting in little pockets. He's trying new things. So it's really good to see. And I'm proud to see Chelsea giving young lads a chance. You know, because it's not always sort of part of club ethos to do that. It hasn't always been, I think, at Chelsea, but now it is, and it's good to see these guys. You've got to look at their name. You think, who's that?
Genesis,
we were, and where he gets his haircuts, we were wondering on that as well. Not that we're down with the kids. Well, Eddie might be. Me and Joe definitely not.
But no, listen, I don't know much about him, Matt. But what I do know is and I know how diligent they are in Chelsea's academy and in how they are in developing not just a player but a human being as well. And then that's one thing I found when I was in the doors there. I was like, there's so much work that goes into helping these young men progress. So it's great for the club and it's great for all football. These young players, brilliant.
Yeah, OK, opportunities may come. From the quarter-final stage, Chelsea safely there. We'll get the boss's view before we're done. Enzo Maresca, I would imagine, happy with the second half than the first. Manager, when we come back.